The Road is it's an organization that I created and inspired by No Longer Empty in New York. And the one in New York and the one on the road are complementary of each other. They have some similar missions that meet at a certain point, but New York has more educational component and interest and also more site-specific. On the road doesn't really, even though the history on the site-specificity is important, it's not as crucial as it is in New York. And so On the Road was born out of the need of the inquiry from different countries and festivals, international festivals, about putting some of the exhibitions that we had in New York. But because New York is non-for-profit and is focused on New York only, and so it was not really very practical to tour these exhibitions to other locations. And New York is site-specificity and educational. And On the Road is more about having already created packages that will travel without the need to always have a curatorial input into the specific space. But it will be more like a canned package that you just take from here and bring it there. But of course, always applying the specificity of the space and making sure that the space is part of the experience. The other thing about the road is that we'll work with a group of artists and bringing them on tour for different locations. So this package exhibition will travel for the idea is to travel for about a year and to 4 or 5 festivals. As an organization that was invited to the biennial, I'm somehow more independent from what is Dutch. I had the freedom to choose whatever subject I wanted, and because at the same time, that they weren't the one that didn't provide any funding or didn't get anything from the government or anybody. I don't really have many people that I had to answer to. So I had complete freedom, curatorial freedom, and whatever I wanted, bring on board whatever I wanted. So, which is kind of a price to pay for, when you don't have all the structure working with you. But one of the actually components of No Longer Empty period is that No Longer Empty was also created as a bridge between the institutions and the most established institutions and the grassroots organizations. But we have, and in New York we have done it, not in a very formal level. It's been more having some curators for an institution, or like being part of an exhibition, and it's just and having some of the panels in the different panels that are organized, having grassroots organizations and speakers. But on the road, in this specific case, Liverpool, it has been more clear distinction of what it is to be a bridge between the two sites, because most of the time the grassroots communities they don't really interact with the establishment, the institutions. And in this case, I'm working working with the biennial, and I'm working with FACT. I'm not repeat this. I'm working with FACT, Foundation for Art and Creative Technology. I'm not repeat this. I'm working with FACT, Foundation for Art and Creative Technology. So we are trying to build a new way of doing things. That is because I think in this era where all the structures are shifting, it is really the time to create partnerships. So not everybody's competing for the same little money that is available, but we are more developing new ways of doing things. Well, I think this moment in history, which is the area of globalization, but also the open market, is really, you know, whatever art is done, whatever institutions or structures are present, all they need to respond to the times. And is that museums have been around for for quite a while, and the way galleries are, education, and so many things. But everything has been changing very rapidly. Because of this, the economy has pretty much has collapsed. We don't live in the bubble of that we've been living for the last few decades. The bubble of comfortable life and fantasy land. And at the same time, the museum institutions have become very heavy and not really representing the shifting of the new society and the new generation. So I believe that like many of the corporations or big companies are merging, the same way it should be with some of these institutions, but not necessarily to become a mega museum or anything like that, but to merge with groups that are not like they are, say, using what other people have, like these experimental groups, or that are doing things differently than they do, and they perhaps have different type of structures that they could learn from each other.
What next?
What's next? Going back to New York.
And after that? What are your wishes for no longer on the road for the future?
Well, I'm very happy as the result of this. There has been a humongous amount of work, a lot more than I expected to do it here in Liverpool. But I'm very pleased to see that it has inspired a lot of people, and that it came at a very appropriate momentum in the history of the city and the country. Very much, we know the money from the governments is dry out, for not to give to the culture activities. But also where a lot of people and organizations are changing their views and doing things. It's not as business as usual, and I felt that it was very important for me to be present at this moment, to witness all these things that are happening. And from here, it's just to follow the leads that are around, people interested in the concept of what I brought here, and the curatorial aspect of it, but also the social component of it. So we'll see where it goes from here. I don't really have any specific goal that I could say now, this is what I'm going to do. But for the moment, just if things just start where they are, I'm too very pleased with it. I need to evolve into something else, let it be.
Do you want to add anything?
Okay. Well, inspired by the concept of size specificity in New York, I thought of a few things. One is what would be size specific to the spaces. In particular, I couldn't really do it because I don't live in Liverpool, and it also it would be. I don't really want to compete with one more art exhibition, during the biennial. And so I tried to figure out something that was more specific to the city of Liverpool. For me, the answer was music. Then that transformed into sound, which is a big part of what I'm presenting here. And I thought about always evolving the city, the local place where the exhibition is taking part. So I did a search on artists that live in Liverpool or in the UK, and then for them also to work and interact with artists that were coming from other locations. That's so just doing the research about what artists first, which artists are very interesting, put into my taste, and then looking at the space, and the, which work could be interesting in each space, or the artists that I know. And it has to be something that is one of my main interests actually was the main thing that I was looking at is something that people, the general people, relate to it. That they don't feel that they have to know art history in order to understand it. Plus I mentioned sound because I think it relates to Liverpool, and also because I'm trying to. I'm not a curator per se. I enjoy doing the artistic direction of things, and I very much enjoy putting projects together. And I'm very socially conscious, philosopher, and a little bit of political activist, a social activist, not political, but a social activist. And it's just so I put all these things together in one package, and I say, what would be something that is new, that is and that it talks to the society, and that could transform people's minds, and that goes beyond being something banal and just because it was exhibited somewhere, then it will become a commodity right away. So and that's one of the main things that I want. That art is, regardless of where it goes after, if it goes to the storage of the artist, or to a museum, or to a collector's home, is the art has, it grabbed the spirit of all those people that watched it, and that so their lives impacted by it. Instead of having just produced a painting, a piece of work that went from the studio or from the gallery to a collector's home, without passing through the filter of the energy of what is the real world, the community. I thought it would be great if something happens after this, that the exhibition I brought here inspired other groups of creative people to do things and take over buildings, continuously being generously donated by landlords in order to help revitalize the neighborhoods and the economy, and also the artistic community. So, I will die in peace tomorrow. I will die anyway in peace. But it's just if I just learn that what I did inspired all these people to do something new.